Stop the car now. Stop the car.
You serious?
Yeah.
I'm stopped. Engine off.
P0 first and jump out safe.
Yeah. Bring back the fucking V12s.
Seb's famous comment after his Sochi retirement. It's not the first talks of an engine we've seen by drivers.
CV2 engine. CV2.
I was left a bit confused by the radio. Why bring back the V12s? In a lesser known portion of this recording, you can actually hear Seb start to express some worry about the fact that there's no K.
Tell me something. Got no K.
We look into it. We know. We are
Okay, copy.
And what he's referring to is the MG UK system. And this system both recovers kinetic energy, which is normally forfeited under braking, but it also can deploy that same energy, which is now stored to assist the crankshaft. In this era of complex power units, it's faced some criticism, and not just for the complicated components that we see Seb struggling with, but there are two other reasons. Many people talk about the Lewis Hamilton and the Mercedes domination, and for good reason, but is their success as overwhelming as it feels? Yeah, obviously. Seb's comment stuck around, as too did one question that sat on my whiteboard that essentially took me down this entire rabbit hole. Has one team sustained an incredible advantage the same way that Mercedes has in the turbo hybrid era, all the way through that same era? Simple question, right? But not that simple of an answer, as you'll soon see. And as always, the point of these videos are to solve problems. So we gotta make sure that your brain is ready to go and engaged. So let's have a little quiz. So what do these drivers have in common? They are the only drivers since 1950 to the year 2000 to have won consecutive world titles, that is, back-to-back. Alright, so maybe you figured that out. But what about this one? What do these drivers have in common? Time's up. Figure it out? That one's a little tricky, right? Well, these are instances of drivers just like the last one, but this time, they failed to repeat their title. And yes, Lewis Hamilton did in fact repeat, but there was an instance where he did not, and that is the point. But we'll get to that. In the first half century of Formula One racing, there were nearly double the instances of drivers that were capable of winning back-to-back world titles, as compared to the number of instances since the turn of the century of drivers that failed to actually repeat their title in back-to-back years. And that's in nearly half the time. There's a reason why nearly a quarter of a century would elapse between Sir Jack Brabham's double world titles and Alain Prost's titles when he was able to do this. And conversely, we'll talk about all the reasons why it's actually pretty rare for a driver not to repeat in modern racing. But as you've noticed, modern racing is increasingly more lopsided. Don't blame Lewis, it's not his fault. He's operating within the regulations given to him, just as Schumacher was, just as Vettel was. Now we could just leave it right there, but that's not how things are done around here. So I want to try something a little bit different. I want to give you the option. Your first choice will be, do you want to continue this video without any sort of selections, without any sort of interruptions for the rest of the video? Or do you want to be down the path of choosing which era you want next? Now, if you choose the options that you want to make selections throughout the video, at the end of each era, you will be asked, do you want to continue on in the normal trajectory? Or do you want to skip an era? Sometimes things can be more boring. I definitely wouldn't skip the turbo era. Maybe skip in the 90s, but it's up to you. And then the process repeats itself just as you see here. On screen, you'll get a couple cards, it'll give you the selections, you make your choice, and go on. And then we all converge at the same spot at the conclusion of this video. Don't worry about the mechanics if you are making selections, I already took care of it. All you need to worry about is making the right choice, which starts right here, right now. Choose wisely.